my name is Lauren.
Hi, my name is Mia.
And the name of our movie is Mr. Beam. For the storyline of Mr. Beam, we have our main character, Steven. His mom and dad were some of the best scientists in the entire world. His parents were experimenting with teleportation. In our film, it starts off with a past where we know that Steven was a young kid and was the only person willing to be experimented on, and it happened to be a success. Poor Steven was too young to remember the experiment, and his parents died in a lab accident when he was 12. Currently, Steven is homeless. He's been living on the streets, and because his aunt and uncle stole all of his parents' money, he's been having to live on the streets for the last 5 years. Steven usually minds his own business while he's living on the streets, but there was this one particular time when he saw an elderly lady being attacked by a burglar, and he was trying to rob her. Steven saw this and decided to go after him. During the confrontation, in Steven's mind, he started to imagine himself being in different positions within the fight, and he didn't even realize it at first, but he actually started to go there to these different positions in the playing field. He realized that from just thinking and imagining these things in his mind that he had used teleportation power by just imagining it. With this power, he finally got his name, Mr. Beam.
The first action scene of this movie is when Steven discovers he has superpowers. Usually Steven minds his own business when roaming the streets, but Steven saw an elderly lady being robbed. Steven decides to help the old lady by punching the robber to try to get the purse back. But there's a problem. Steven doesn't know how to do that, so he thinks, what if I could teleport? Suddenly, he teleports. Steven gives back the purse to the old lady and then realizes he has teleportation powers and that his powers actually help him do a good deed in the world.
For our second action scene, we know that Mr. Beam has vowed to not let Mr. Magneto escape again, his arch nemesis. Magneto was on the move, though, one day trying to bring down a metal bridge for unknown reasons to Mr. Beam. However, Mr. Beam was not going to let innocent lives die, regardless of the situation. What makes matters worse is this whole entire situation happens at rush hour, so there's a bunch of cars on the street and people everywhere. Mm-hmm. Magneto is throwing cars off the bridge left and right, so Mr. Beam swoops into an action-packed sequence on the bridge. He uses his teleportation powers to go on either side of the bridge and catch falling cars and people that have been thrown over by Mr. Magneto. Mr. Beam teleports to save these people's lives, and his teleportation powers are to thank in this situation. At the end of this scene, Mr. Magneto meets his end at the end of the bridge.
The villain in this movie is Magneto, a villain that creates magnetic fields. He is a Marvel character. He has been in several Marvel comics. He's got a loyal fan base already.
Our film, Mr. Beam, is an all-original movie film. This movie is a continuous story of Marvel. We have Magneto, who is a famous villain in Marvel. Like my colleague Mia has mentioned previously, we know that Magneto has superpowers of controlling magnetic fields.
The global stars we will woo to be in our film are Dylan O'Brien and Tom Hardy. Steven, aka Mr. Beam, will be played by Dylan O'Brien from Teen Wolf, and Magneto will be played by Tom Hardy.
We would like to propose a budget for our film, Mr. Beam. We feel very confident in our proposal because we have looked at other blockbusters to get an idea of what Marvel film these days is running for production and marketing. We are looking for $165 million in our production budget, as well as $100 million in our marketing.
For our movie, we have a couple tie-ins with other companies. Nearing the release of our movie, we plan to partner with Fortnite. Our goal is that they release a skin of Mr. Magneto and Mr. Beam. This will create a lot of hype for our movie, as well as bring in a lot of crowds, including the gaming community.
That's right. For our second collaboration, we will be going in with the company Uniqlo. Uniqlo has stores all over, but its most popular spot is in South Coast Plaza. This store is known for selling plush toys, hats, and clothing for women, men, and children. The goal of collabing with this company is to have merchandise such as hats and toys and maybe t-shirts advertising our movie. Eventually, everyday shoppers will be able to see the product, buy it, and be persuaded to go and watch it in movies.
Our third collaboration for the movie is Lego. Our movie will also provide Lego sets, allowing kids to get hyped about the movie when they go to the store with their parents or make their parents order stuff from the Lego site regarding our movie.
For our fourth and final collaboration, we will be collaborating with pop figures, such as Teen Wolf and Maze Runner's Dylan O'Brien, and Mad Max and Venom's Tom Hardy. The reason for this is Marvel is known for using pop figures in their own movies to have benefit their sales. So if the characters in Mr. Beam have pop figures playing the main characters, we will have an increase of people wanting to see our movies because of these already popular pop figures that already have a fan base of their own outside of the film.
The major movie production studio we'd like to pitch to is Marvel. The reason is that Marvel is a well-known company and franchise. The reason why we picked Marvel is because they're really well-known in superhero films and they can help fund the cost of the film production and get the word out, and it's arguably the best company out there for superhero films.
Exactly. Marvel could help us get our production on the fly and let other companies and other media sites know that this movie is coming out. In our film production, there is one specific scene that will need a heavy dosage of special effects. In this particular scene, Magneto is trying to rob a bank. He uses his magnetic skills to cause the vault in the bank to crash down. By doing so, he caused the metal from the vault to cave in, and of course this causes a couple of very big explosions. This also broke down the main entrance of the entire bank. By making all of these action scenes seem as realistic as possible, we're going to need a lot of special effects in helping us do that.
This film is aimed at the 16 to 24-year-old male range. This movie is a Marvel action movie which attracts young adults to come to the movies.
Young male adults.
By adding explosions and cool superheroes to Mr. Beam, it allows people to be on the edge of their seats while watching this movie.
To conclude our proposal, we really do believe that our film will work well overseas, particularly in the Chinese box office. The reason for this being is because of the classic nature of this Marvel film. This film, because it is a Marvel film, will be well known worldwide anyways, because Marvel is a very well-known superhero filming company. This will already attract a multitude of people. Additionally, by using this underdog and sob story with Steven losing his parents at a young age, this will appeal to ethos and pathos for all audiences around the world. Steven being left on the streets to live on his own will let people sympathize with him and root for his journey along the way. In conclusion, we know this movie will be a hit. Thank you for listening and watching to our pitch. We really hope that we've persuaded you in helping us finance and produce the film Mr. Beam. Bye!